All right. My 5 best get bit baits for wintertime fishing are gonna kind of go with finesse. One way or another, it's going to be finesse. Some of these will be a little bit more towards power fishing, but they're still finesse. And this tube, and I like to fish it with the head inside. It just tends to snag a little bit less. On the fall, you get a little different fall. It'll spiral. The hookup ratio is really good on this. And all kinds of bass love a tube. I'll fish that on a spinning rod, typically with braid to a fluoroliter, depending on where, anywhere from 7 to 10 pounds. My other finesse would be a nose hook drop shot. This happens to be a Rain's Bubba ring shaker. It's what I had close by, but you know, 4-inch drop shot, shad shaped worm. Something like an X-Zone Slammer are really good. All right, and then getting away from the spinning rod. Now, I don't know if the cat's out of the bag all the way around the country on these, but this is the Megabass. Of course, now I can't remember the name. Dark Sleeper. Okay. These come all the way to an ounce. I think these are 3/4. The hook's in it. You can see there, protected by the fins. These work really, really well. You'll see these on some other people's lists as well. There's a couple different colors. They've got a bunch, and they're reasonable. It's probably the lowest price Megabass product on the market. One I always have rigged from fall through winter, the underspin. That's a Cool Baits underspin with a X-Zone 4-inch swammer in the 309 color. Awesome color. And I just generally with this, I just slow roll it on the bottom. You want it bumping every now and then, crawling up over rocks. That blade's probably hardly spinning, just creating a little bit of commotion down there. And there's times where you may want to not use blade. My other 2 choices are going to be a finesse jig, and this is one I happen to have tied this morning. Thinner skirts. I don't put a whole lot of material in these. That's living rubber. I want it to poof because I'm going to fish them really slow. And on this one, I'd fish probably like a smallie beaver or something like that for a trailer. And this is a 3/4 ounce. And I'll also throw them in the 1 ounce. And on this one, I can go smallie beaver or the regular beaver. I'm going to show you a little trick here that I do with my trailer sometimes. And since this is finesse, I'm going to pull these claws off. I just take the Sharpie and do just the tips. Just a little bit, doesn't need a lot. Then separate it. This works really good with kicking type trailers too. But I wouldn't do just the top half of the kicker is it. Just like lipstick on lips. Just that black just gives a little something to stand out. All of this stuff I can fish on 12-pound and under. You can go heavier if you're in big fish areas. I've been throwing this at my local lake because we've been catching stripers and largemouth. I've been throwing it on 20-pound test, 3/8, and 1/2 ounce heads. These little finesse, because they're a light wire hook, and you can see it's a pretty small hook. I'm not going to fish that over 12-pound test. And although this is a heavier head, it's still a finesse hook. Anyway, those are my 5 that I'll always have rigged in the wintertime. Always on the deck of the boat. I'm not much for drop shotting, but hey, sometimes that's what they want. I'd rather fish the tube because I can kind of move it around. Same thing with the jigs. Although you're fishing them slow and letting them sit a bit, it's still slow fishing. And then, you know, the swim bait, I mean, I'm reeling that as slow as I can, you know, just keeping it moving, bouncing bottom, and fish on, baby.